Good morning on our session about artificial intelligence and other cognitive technologies. We had different formats today in the morning. We had a panel discussion, we had a prelection, and we thought we may try something else as well. So to start with, we thought, okay, so what is so exciting about conferences at all? So basically, why do you come to conferences? And I'm just wondering, what's exciting for you? Obviously, apart from the party, that was yesterday, and looks like it worked well, looking at the audience and attendance today. Apart from free food and free drinks, we thought it actually may be getting different point of views, getting an idea of others, different ideas, and also opportunity to bounce off ideas. So we thought, okay, so let's make it more interactive. And instead of a panel, that may not be a best format for getting into the deeper of the subject. We thought we'll have just 4 short presentations. And apart from that, we also would like to invite you to the discussion as well. And we will be able to do that by the chat. So we'd like to test something new with you today. So there will be a website that we could use. So this is the website that you actually post the questions during the today speeches. And on this website, basically, you can just go there, put your name, and ask the question. There's opportunity to be a participant in the chat, but also to be a participant in a survey. So you're all the geeks, I suppose, on the technological session. I'd like you to use that if you could. And we'll start with a short test of that in a second. And after the chat, our prelections, we also would like to give you the voice in the end to share some of your perspective on the subject. So how AI is impacting our organizations. Okay, so there will be 4 of us. I'll start with the first 10 minutes. And, okay. So I'll start with the first intro of and giving you the perspective of where we are in terms of the market and how the organizations are feeling about AI. And by the way, my name is Dariusz. I'm an innovation consultant and managing partner in InnoMentors. My background and bias is that I was running the shared service center, actually software center in Poland. And at the moment, I'm helping organizations to be more effective and more competitive by using technology, but also methodologies and influencing the culture of the organization. So let's take a look at how the world looks right now. And it seems that we heard a lot about dystopian views of the AI taking over the world, how basically robots will take over and kill us, and basically there's tons of articles about it. I wouldn't worry about that so much. I believe that we don't really have to worry about it. I'm more positive. I believe that people will basically kill each other first before we even give a chance to AI, and so we don't really have to worry about that. In the meantime, there's a huge opportunity actually to use AI for our advantage, especially on the side of the BPOs, shared services, ITOs, and how we can use that to boost those centers, not necessarily to cut the headcount. So let's see how what the market's saying. So what the current data say about that. If you take a look at the survey, so this is HFS research, recent research on KPMG. When you ask the executives senior executives about how they perceive the effectiveness of the initiatives. So basically what already went pretty well, so they score highly. So they already say that lowering the operation cost and building the greater flexibility and scalability of operations pretty went well. So you can say, so this is basically kind of a yesterday value, but something that is still not explored and maybe kind of something to think of and be room for improvement would be the analytical capabilities, cloud-based delivery services, better transformed and redesigned processes, and better automated and cognitive processes. So another piece of study that supports that view is when you ask the executives about the directives and what's the most critical directives they take a look at the moment, is obviously, apart from driving down the cost, is aligning middle and back office operations to improve customer experience. Also, create real-time data that supports predictive and reactive decisions. What's also interesting is the piece of study that shows that we would like to improve the quality of talent as well. And only 12% of those guys do not consider investing in process automation and robotics to reduce reliance on low and high-skilled labor. On 12%. So there's lots of stuff happening according to the study. So before we go there, there's you can say there's also some observations on about the mindset of those heads of those centers. So some are afraid of implementing RPA and to reduce the hand count, mainly because they like to build the kingdoms, right? So my center is a bigger one, some better, so mine is longer, right? And they perceive the value they create by FTEs. So the headcount, the bigger I am, the better my center is. And so I don't think it's sustainable. I believe it should be switched to the value provided by the center, not the headcount that I'm managing. And maybe that's a good idea in terms of the implementing RPA to actually switch to showing how much value I create, not necessarily how big my center is. Another approach is just to run another cost cutting, because we already know how to do it. We did that, let's do another cost cutting, and it will be great. And I also believe it's doomed because it's not sustainable. We already see that we did a lot, and it's not so disruptive anymore. So only doing that for cost cutting won't work much. So if not that, we can take a look at the one model that is already pretty well shared. I suppose it's kind of an idea of one office organization where the ideal organization is supported by automation and standardization of processes to actually build a digital underbelly. So kind of a nervous system for the organization. Also using design thinking and to unified outcomes, and also including design thinking and cognitive and artificial intelligence to build these neural systems to actually provide a real-time actionable data and for greater personalization of services. So I see that what's shown here is a shift towards a bigger customer approach and customer view in investing AI into customer experience, not necessarily to cut the headcount per se. But you may say, okay, so that's great, but how we can do that? So basically, how it can shift our organizations? Because today, what we'll discuss later on is how those technologies actually impacting the organizations. So you could ask, so how should we craft our careers for our talent in this environment? And by the way, how our organizations and shared services can become exciting industry. As we know, ABSL is fighting for years to show that this is great, this is exciting area. But actually using those technologies, I believe, can help us not only to show that we can actually cut the headcount by using RPA, but also actually it can help us to create an exciting environment, exciting industry. Right. So to support that, when you take a look at another study that shows how we will refocus our skills, it's definitely because of the RPA getting rid of their more mundane and repetitive tasks, there will be bigger demand for critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence. So this is also great because those skills are way more exciting than than our previous ones, and we can engage people more and engage younger audience as well to show them this is basically something great. But if you ask, how can we actually do that? So what kind of methods or shifts can help us actually to utilize those skills? It's actually the answer from the previous slide. So like methodologies like design thinking, to actually think about how AI can be used on the business side, because the technology itself, it's not as revolutionary. So we have neural networks for decades already. So we know the technology, but the application of that and use cases, we're not there. And a current challenge is also on the use cases. So how to apply it. And to do that, basically, we not only need the knowledge around neural networks and AI and machine learning, but also about a business and a customer, how to apply that. So definitely investing in the design thinking area and the other areas can help us to utilize the technology and create a bigger value out of it and utilize the new skills that we'll need. So I'd like to ask you, so we'll have a survey. So if you already have are on the website that I showed you, can you show, let me sure if we can show the sorry for that. So we have the website tts.si, and if you can share your I'll just switch because for some reason I have the different the previous slide deck. I just use this one, yeah. So this is the address. Is it visible from the end? Great. So I'm just wondering how it's gonna go. So we have the first question on our survey. We have the results already. Okay, can you show them here how the first results look like? I believe we can still vote, right? Okay. Okay, okay. So the question that you've seen on our website, how the AI will impact our BPO shared services, whether it stimulate growth, reduce headcount. So the yellow one is basically stimulate growth, and the reddish is reduce. So somehow we are more optimist, fortunately, in the audience. Okay, so just after this short intro, I'd like to hand over to the speakers that actually will share some insights about their organizations, how it looks in their, and they are coming from ABSL companies, ABSL member companies, so we can actually hear more about how it looks inside our ABSL organization, how they perceive that. So, not further ado, I'd like to give the voice to Łukasz Macuda from Luxoft to speak about that right now. Łukasz.
Thank you very much. Hello everyone, my name is Łukasz Macuda and I'm Regional Director in Luxoft Poland, responsible for our center in Kraków and in Tri-City. So a few words about the Luxoft, which is the software company which provides the software solutions in various areas. But today I would like to talk about artificial intelligence and some technologies connected with that, and how this technology is going, to change the job market, and also give the example how my organization is preparing, for this, revolution. Oops, something disappeared. But okay, so maybe in the meantime we will solve the technical issues, and I will continue. I would like, to give an example how we are preparing for the change, which is definitely coming, and being the optimistic person with technological or engineering background. I'm a big fan of artificial intelligence, of the technological revolution which is coming, and I would like to talk about this, change in the positive way, because definitely yesterday we heard many different opinions about disruptive technologies which are going to change our world, which are going to change our organizations, and the question is how we are prepared for that. We heard some very optimistic opinion that it is something great, so there are a lot of opportunities in front of us. We heard very natural opinions that nothing is happening, so we are not prepared for this revolution. We don't have the skills to implement artificial intelligence in our organizations, and also some opinions with a lot of the fears connected with job market. So what is going to happen with my job? What would be the position of the human beings versus the machines? Are we going to be controlled by the machines, etc., etc.? I'm pretty sure that the big work was done by the science fiction movies, literature, which create a very negative picture of what is going to happen. In all the cases, the machines and humans are fighting for the control of the world. But we are not talking about machines with self-confidence or self-consciousness, but rather we are talking about some small solutions which trying to, or which behaving like humans. And I would like to take the example of autonomous cars, so self-driving the cars, as something which is very close to us, where a lot of new technologies, artificial intelligence, automation is implemented. Basically, the technology is ready, and this is something which I'm a big fan of, and my company is also doing a lot of things around that. But let's stop for a moment and focus on the job market. So as we know that all the technology changes are definitely influencing the job market. And first question is which jobs are going to disappear, which jobs will be created. So in the past, we had several technology revolutions, and so far we had the same question, the same challenges, and the outcome is that all the technology revolution brought much more new jobs than destroy the old ones. And yesterday we heard a different opinion from CTO of Fujitsu that this revolution might be different, but I completely disagree. So basically on this example, I can also tell you that autonomous cars, this is not only the cars. So the technology is ready, but we need a lot of the new types of work, jobs to maintain it, to create it, because definitely this technology is not will not come from the sky. So this needs to be designed, it needs to be created, needs to be maintained. Also, a lot of tools to create and test this technology needs to be done, and also each technology revolutions create, let's say, some jobs that we completely are not aware of. So right now, the report from World Economic, let's say, Forum from last year claimed that about 65% of the kids who are at this moment in primary school, they will work in the jobs that right now that does not exist. So you can also imagine that that I think that the good example is also the revolution that happened in the telco area. So the smartphones. So when the smartphones were also invented, nobody even to dream how many different solutions could be implemented on those platforms. And right now, so I think that we are talking about evolution. So so here you see, let's say, like positive, let's say, good side and bad side. So I mean that some jobs will be displaced, some jobs will be created. So being in the software company, I think that we are on the positive side. So definitely the software companies will help to implement this, let's say, technology, but we cannot, let's say, wait for this revolution. And in Luxoft, what we are doing, so definitely, first of all, we change the business model. We transform the company from the typical IT outsourcing company to the consulting and solutions provider. And also, looking at the history, Luxoft grew up on the financial industry, where we help financial institutions to run also their business in the more efficient way. But right now we are focusing on the emerging areas like autonomous cars and what we are doing. So digital displays, which will deliver the information for the passengers, for the driver, entertain the passenger during, let's say, the trip, and a lot of the solutions which help to implement self-driving cars. So I mean like the steerings, like image, let's say, recognition, navigation, and we are trying with our partners to put these components together and make it real. But I think what is, let's say, key in this journey is not wait what is going, let's say, to happen. So we have the, I'm not sure if I can say the great example, but some of the examples that some companies were the leaders in the area, so technology leaders, and right now they almost disappeared from the market. I'm talking about the in Kodak, who invented the digital image, let's say, sensor, and right now they are not exist. Also, what happened with Nokia? So they invented the touch screen, but also they were quite late with the decision to invest, let's say, more time in that. And this is also what we are doing. So right now, Luxoft does not have this type of the projects in Poland, and right now we are trying to bring this business to our country by teaching our employees and building the experience, especially that the automotive space is very conservative, and you cannot, let's say, just like that come to this business without proving that your solution is working, ready, and will be successful in the cars. So basically, we are building the business knowledge, business experience, and also we are acquiring some companies with the knowledge, because it is pretty hard to just I don't know, open the book, buy the car, and learn how the things should be created and done. Especially that. The cars, this is only the piece of this business, because there are a lot of infrastructure, let's say, a lot of solutions that needs to be built to allow, let's say, these cars, let's say, to drive on the roads. But also, what let's say, surprised me, let's say, personally, is that we are looking for the technical skills that we thought that are the legacy, that are slowly disappearing, let's say, from the markets. And being, let's say, the big, let's say, fan of this technology revolution, I can say the last word before I pass the word to the next, let's say, speaker. That being the big fan of the technology, I still, let's say, prefer looking at the future and the cars to see Robert Kubica in Formula One car instead of robot RK9000 like HAL in the Space Odyssey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now, Paweł, yeah, could you take over this?
Okay. Working? Hello? Okay. So, working? Yeah. So, my name is Paweł Szymański. I'm operation director, and I'm working especially for our media division in Thomson Reuters for media company. And what I would like to show you is actually that one of the tools we recently developed for our journalists using the machine learning. So as a quick introduction, on Twitter there are almost around 6,000 posts every second, which means that roughly this translates to 500 million tweets per day. And this likely will be growing by 30% year over the year. So also the social media feeds employ their own algorithms to surface content for the users may want to see, which creating the self-perpetuating echo chambers through the filter bubbles. So with such massive influx and of live opinion, images, facts, and fiction, the question is how really we can cut through to find something we want to find to the small percentage of tweets, and actually how we can find the breaking news. Just to give you an overview, is globally we have the media division have around 2,500 journalists, 600 photojournalists, but it's obvious that they can't be everywhere, right? But with the proliferation of smartphones right now and the social media, we got actually many more eyewitness accounts of a lot more events. So what we developed is actually we developed the tool which using the power of the crowd to alert our journalists earlier, to give them more time for the value added work. And just to if you're interested how the machine learning can verify actually the news. In few steps, basically the first is obviously filter out the chat, spam, and all the advertisements. But what this tool is doing is using the power of cognitive computing, runs the machine learning algorithm on the percentage of 700 million tweets per day, and then analyzing them using the algorithm and looking at the 700 signals from Twitter to find the breaking news and assign them newsworthiness rating, which telling our journalists if it's something worth, if it's fake, if it's true event. Okay. So as I said, we are this tool running 700, looking for the 700 different signals, and doing exactly what our journalists are doing. The only difference is that it takes just 40 milliseconds. So, and if you ask what, so first thing is that this is not achievable for any human at all. But the human can use this tool, and they have from 8 to 60 minutes head start to do the proper job and value-added job. And if you ask about the accuracy and how many tweets, for example, we need only five tweets on the same event to achieve 78% of accuracy. So this is not achievable for any human at all. And what I would like to actually say is, and ask you maybe the question, how we can get smarter using this AI or RPA, how we can train and retrain ourselves during these changes, how the educational system is adapting to such changes, predicted changes. And the last thing I would say is that actually we are responsible to implement this technology. And what we are doing is we're thinking about machine learning and AI as an augmenting humans, not replacing them. And that's the way we are implementing AI. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So now I'd like to invite you to the stage, Marcin.
Good morning, everyone. And what happened? This is a technical disruption or something. Okay. Good morning. Good morning again. My name is Marcin Kowalski. I work for a company named GFT. We are IT services provider. We have global services, and we have 3 service centers in Poland. We deliver mostly to capital market clients, think big investment banks. I am responsible for innovative transformation of GFT in Poland. And the angle I wanted to take on the topic of artificial intelligence is 2 disruptions that we observe that are not actually caused by artificial intelligence, but actually something that AI can help with fixing it. And I wanted to give you an overview how GFT approaches innovative transformation and how we prepare ourselves to actually deal with such advanced topic as artificial intelligence. Something very critical for a company providing IT services. So disruption number 1. This is actually coming from our clients, which are investment banks, and the disruption is regulatory. So the amount of regulatory projects being legally enforced on our clients is enormous. There's a lot of work being done around it and major cost. And there are actually 2 types of such projects. The first ones are those that prevent banks from committing financial crimes. And the second ones are those that are preventing banks' clients from committing financial crimes. And you might actually think that regulatory is not actually the great place to apply innovation and artificial intelligence to, but it's actually true when you think about systems that are designed to prevent banks from committing crimes. But if you think about systems that prevent banks' clients from committing crimes, it actually happens that these systems are much more sophisticated. And the problem with them is that the amount of data that has to be processed is enormous, and subtle correlations there are really hard to spot for humans. So the artificial intelligence is actually a promise to somehow fix it, because this is what artificial intelligence actually is. It's smart ways to analyze data quickly and come up with smart answers of what data does contain. And when I think about these systems, I think about systems like KYC, which is know your customer, due diligence, or anti-money laundering systems, which is basically preventing criminals or terrorists from entering a banking system. So something of critical importance for today's matters. And now we have already started working on artificial intelligence solutions with our clients, which is very promising. And this is actually the reason why we are interested in artificial intelligence. This is that clients approach us and ask us to help with that. And this is obviously a very new thing to all IT companies, GFT included. And the way we did it is introduction of Global Innovation Network. And I'm not trying to boast here, because this is probably something that other companies have as well. But there is one very important feature of it that I wanted to discuss. And I think it's important not only in GFT, but also maybe in Poland or in the whole Central European region as well. So how it works is that GFT, in a response to this massive innovation movement, fintech, regtech, insurtech, has introduced a network of innovation hubs, which kind of puts people working on innovative solutions like artificial intelligence in each GFT office globally. And now the key here is that it is regardless of whether a center is cost reduction center, whether it's mid-coast center, or maybe it's headquarters. And when you think of it, this is, when you think about making business, like, coming up with competitive advantages, coming up with corporate strategies, winning new contracts and getting new clients. This is for people working for capital markets, which probably is not the best place to do it because, our clients are on Canary Wharf or Wall Street. So we're not going to move this business to Poland. And this is really serious business, right? And innovation happens to be something that GFT thinks can be applied and can be developed everywhere in the world, Poland, Brazil, Spain included, okay? So this is a great opportunity for us to do something, to provide efficiency for the capital markets in a completely different way. It's no longer efficiency by the cost of labor, but efficiency with providing business with smart ideas to actually be more efficient. And when you look at Gartner reports that discuss innovation, then you will see that if you break down projects by how innovative they are, it actually happens that the most innovative ones are mostly driven by business requirements. So it's like, according to Gartner, it's like 75% of requirements coming to most innovative projects, like AI related, are actually driven by business, not by technology. And for us, a company that is kind of struggling with this transformation toward being more innovative and delivering more innovative modern AI services, it is very important to encourage our people to jump over the IT wall. This wall behind which people are not delivering on time, are not reliable, and are actually doing IT stuff for IT people that no one really understands. So by introducing innovative assignments to them, we are actually forcing them to work closer with business and to understand what business actually needs. And this is what we observe, because what these people do is they work on offerings. They used to simply work on like relatively simple projects delivering software, and now they support our offerings. They work closer with sales. They are actually going to client pitches, and they working on a completely different level. And when you think about artificial intelligence, it basically happens that this really is not about technology. It is about actually finding ways of analyzing your data to come up with smart solutions. And the second disruption I wanted to discuss is our Central European or Polish macroeconomy, which actually makes our competitive advantage based on labor cost melting slowly. This is not as bad as in India, where wages in IT used to grow like 15% a year on average, and they already have a trouble with that. But this is apparent that we are making more money in IT in Poland. And our clients approach us and more often and ask us, okay, so what is the value that you're going to provide? Because your cost is not that competitive as it used to be. And we may be slightly more exposed to it in GFT because we are, to an extent, a market of service centers. So we have service centers in Brazil, in Poland, and in Spain. And whenever someone wants to do a project, there's a question: why do we want to do it in Poland? Maybe we can do it in Brazil, right? Maybe they have better wages and better rates, lower rates. And there are, of course, time zone alignments and cultural alignments, but the world is becoming more global as well. So these advantages of time zone or cultural alignments are actually diminishing as well. And when you listen to me, you might think, okay, so this is some guy coming from IT service center, and he now talks about them switching from relatively simple projects to artificial intelligence. What is this guy talking about? So one thing to notice is when you look at education levels in IT service industry in Poland, actually virtually everyone in our offices is Masters of Science. And some of us are actually PhDs. So we happen to deliver cost efficiency with PhDs sometimes. And these people are actually amazing when they approach me and they go like, I've been doing this deep networks analysis last night and I came up with some interesting results. And I go like, what you've been doing? This is a thing. Artificial intelligence is a thing for Polish IT community that they are able actually to grasp over weekends. Okay, and this has already been observed by organizations like CAI, which is Central European Artificial Intelligence. It is driven by Bradford Cross, a very famous person in the artificial intelligence community. And these people are actually coming from Silicon Valley because they have noticed that there is huge potential in education in Central Europe. This is why they come to Polish conferences and talk about things like CAI, good AI, and stuff like that, because they have just realized that the effectiveness of our education is very high, and there is no reason to pay premium for machine learning specialists, which actually basically everyone in Silicon Valley is machine learning specialists nowadays, if you can have that in Poland. So our view on artificial intelligence revolution is very positive, although if you ask whether artificial intelligence is going to cut jobs, well, it's no longer a problem of engineering, it's a problem of sociology. Ask an American factory worker about how he feels about automation providing new jobs. Actually, these people are no longer able to do what their fathers or their grandfathers used to do. So it's not a question whether it's going to reduce jobs. It is going to reduce jobs. But the question is, which ones? And with AI, as with every other revolution, we think there are going to be winners and losers. And for us, it's the question of on which side you're going to be at the end of the day. And we believe that this is somehow possible for us to make the decision. So basically, I wanted to also encourage you to think about your people working in IT on your service centers. Like, they're not going to be overutilized by AI and innovation. They may be somehow underutilized sometimes by things that we throw at them on their daily works. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now we have about 15 minutes for a panel discussion. So I'd like to invite all of you speakers to the short Q&A with me, and I'll have all the questions with me. Also, I'd like to ask the crew to show the screen with the questions on this one as well. Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to ask you, how do you see your center will be impacted in terms of the numbers? I'd like to start with you, Paweł, because you said you see that there's opportunity, but in terms of actually the numbers of the jobs in your center, how do you see it will look in the next few years?
It will be growing. It will be growing, and from the last for the last few years, actually, the AI and the whole network innovation was created on top of the normal headcounts. Now it's being formalized, and we're building a dedicated innovation center as such. In terms of numbers, we think in this innovation center we are talking now about 2,000 or 3,000 people, headcounts, just for the innovation and AI and RPA.
Okay, thank you. Łukasz, how it looks at Luxoft?
So, regarding Luxoft, so right now we have about 2,100 let's say, people working in Poland to provide some IT solution to our let's say, customers, and definitely the AI and the technologies connected with that. This is something let's say, positive for our organization because we expect let's say, the growth, but the main let's say, challenge is to find let's say, the people with the skills that we are looking for. So definitely this will be the growth.
Okay, Marcin?
So for GFT, it's around 100 people doing innovation globally in terms of innovation. But the thing we're also doing is we're kind of blending it with spreading the news around and providing a lot of initiatives for all our employees, so they can engage not necessarily on full time, but we provide them a lot of trainings and enable them to actually participate, still being on another type of projects. That's how it looked like.
Thank you very much. So there was one question also regarding exactly that. So will widespread introduction of AI not contribute to rising unemployment? And if I can add something to that, there is a study actually that asks how it will look in 2021. And data shows that actually there will be a drop between 2 and 14% in total unemployment because of that. But it doesn't mean that it will be an average. So actually, there will be 50% increase, the studies say, 50% increase in high-skilled jobs, 50%. But the low-skilled jobs will be decreased. So in total, average between 2 and 14% drop, depending on how aggressive scenario we will run. And the middle skilled jobs will be pretty much the same or slightly increase as well because of that. So that's what's this study say. Okay. We also had a piece of another survey. So this is the previous one. So it looks that you're more positive in terms of stimulating growth by the AI. But we also had another piece of the question to you during this panel. Let me show that. So another question was, how can you see innovation, AI innovation already positively impacting your organization? And the bluish thing is yes, and yellow is no. So yeah, it's yellow. So basically, you're very optimistic for the future, but probably not seeing yet, or at least more people are not seeing yet the benefits of the AI. Okay, when we take a look at other questions, that we actually have lots of questions, by the way. So I'm pretty surprised, actually, positively surprised that we have plenty of questions. Fortunately, out of about 30, we can moderate them, by the way. So, which if you have pretty bad question, it's pretty easy now to just switch it off. But anyway, so the ones that were coming at the beginning were. So that would be a question I'd like to address to you guys. What impact can AI, so Yannick is asking, what impact can AI have on our productivity? And another one was, is AI the future of our society and culture, from the same person? Anyone like to?
So I can take a look at this question. So definitely AI is driven by the economics. So to implement this new technology, we need to have the reason for that. And in most of the cases, the AI is implemented to do some tasks, to complete them in the more efficient way, let's say with the better quality. And I think that this will definitely stimulate, let's say, the productivity. But the question is, for me, how so the human versus machines or the AI will work, let's say, together. I think the good examples we have in healthcare, where in the diagnostic, let's say, space, well, the machines are much better than the humans, but when the humans working with the machines, so with the algorithms for the diagnostics, so the results are very close to 100 of accuracy. So I think that this is the way where we should go.
Okay. Another question was from Marek. What are use cases of cognitive computing? So some of you already said that. Anything like to add in your cases in your organization?
The one I showed, right? Is the one of the tool we developed. But I think that's a very good example how to use AI to create a added value and not replacing humans, right? There are some areas when definitely human is not capable and will not be capable. Some tasks will be replaced by AI in the next couple of years. So I think that this case and our actually approach is not actually to cut the costs. We are not looking for the AI as an disruptor or cutting the cost. We are looking for the AI as that is changing the way we do the things, and we have to think how to use AI and do it the same things differently.
Okay. So another question from Grzegorz is, so if AI is so positive, so why it's not implemented in more places yet? Supposedly the technology is not super complex, so what is the real barrier?
Well, so let me answer this question. So there are probably many different factors. It's like asking why American ports, like sailing ports, are less automated than like the ones in the one in Amsterdam, and the answer is actually politics, because we do not want to get rid of a lot of jobs. And also it probably takes time. It's like, asking why do not we already have self-driving cars? It probably takes time to develop it. And there are other innovations in other areas, like the question is, why do we have taxis if there is Uber? Which probably is a better solution. Sorry for all taxi drivers there. But the problem is that it's probably going to take time and adoption, and some processes take years to change. I mean, anyone working in a big organization is aware that if you have even 2,000 people, that changing something is going to take years.
Okay, so slightly similar question, but from different angle. What would stop companies to bring back their operations onshore using RPA and AI? And how do we need to repurpose our SSCs for the future? So Marcin, you already talked about it, like your view and how GFT is trying to approach that. I'm just wondering if you'd like to add anything to that, to just pinpoint that question about bringing back.
So what's the questions again?
So the question was, what would stop companies to bring back their operations onshore using RPA and AI?
So from our standpoint, it's what we're trying to do. We are trying to consult companies, and we're trying to provide them all expertise they need to do whatever they are at the end of the day deciding to do. Okay, so for us, a technology company, it is a fantastic opportunity, because if our clients want to bring something on shore back, then that's okay. But again, with every revolution like this, with every disruption like this, there's a spotlight on Central Europe, in my view, which says, okay, these guys there are capable of doing much more than we used to think they were. So my look at that is that we are very competitive in terms of our knowledge, and I'm not afraid at all that someone's going to come up and say, okay, so it no longer makes sense for GFT to do something for us when we can do it on shore.
Yeah, Łukasz?
So basically, the AI and RPA can be run everywhere. So it doesn't matter if this will be run in Poland or any place in the world. But the question is when it will be created, and we should drive the innovation and create this technology here in Poland.
Okay. Another one is from Tomasz. How does adding the cognitive element to RPA improve processes?
So like, facial recognition, the thing that actually computers are not very good. Used not to be very good at. So RPA is more about, automating repetitive tasks. And now with artificial intelligence, cognitive abilities, you can automate more. That's simply that. The computers are capable of doing more things that humans used to be good at, and now computers are good at this as well. Think about your, telephone where you can talk to it and like Siri or Google search.
Okay, and another more philosophical from Andrzej. Can artificial intelligence become self-aware?
We're not there yet.
Yes, right now it is a science fiction, but looking at the movies, and sooner or later we will be there. But the question is how it will be implemented, and listening to some famous researchers and some worldwide leaders. So we need to be very careful with implementing such technology.
Well, so there actually works on general artificial intelligence. Currently, we're not there, and no one knows we're going to be there. But it's actually good for us for the time being because AI still needs a lot of assistance.
Actually, according to the study, just one more comment that there's lots of gurus that are just saying that artificial intelligence is not intelligence at all. It's just mimicking what we are doing in a different way, in a smarter way, but there's no comparison to actually our human intelligence at all. So I'm pretty positive that it's way long to go before they become self-aware. So, guys, thank you very much. That's all time we had for discussion. I hope it was slightly more interactive and more engaging for you. And thanks a lot to panelists.